Hello, welcome to Terry's Home Kitchen. You know, I think pasta and meatballs is the most popular dish in this country, perhaps even the entire world. So today, I'm going to make for you my family's recipe for Sunday sauce and meatballs. Our recipe has been passed down now for 5 generations, but I bet each one of us has tweaked that recipe just a little from our moms. Let's begin. We're going to add a half a cup of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of fresh granulated garlic, we want to turn that on medium-high. And you got to keep your eye on it because you don't want the garlic to brown too quickly or to burn, because it definitely does change the flavor of the sauce. It becomes a little bit bitter. So we're going to keep our eye on that. And next, we're going to start with the tomatoes. We're going to add 2 cans of crushed tomatoes. And then 2 cans of whole peeled plum tomatoes. And I have to crush those with my hands. Takes a little bit to do, and you want to be careful while you're squeezing them that it doesn't get all over your clothes. And we're going to add that to our pot. Now, I use a large can of tomato paste, and the reason I do that is, number one, it acts as a thickener, and it also adds a little bit of a hearty, robust flavor. A little richer. Makes your sauce a little rich. Okay, next is 4 cups of water. All right, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon of pepper, a half a teaspoon of oregano, half a cup of parsley, half a cup of fresh chopped basil, and a half a cup of sugar. Now we're going to stir that all together, and we're going to add our cheese last. You want to make sure all the ingredients are combined before you put your cheese in. And you want to put in 1 cup of Pecorino Romano. And the reason I use Pecorino Romano over Parmesan, I think it's a sharper bite to the cheese. Parmesan is a little bit smoother. Again, we're going to give it a good stir. Get everything combined well. Okay. Your sauce is going to cook for 3 hours. So I'm going to move it over, get it to a simmer, and then we're going to start our meatballs. All right, let's get started with the meatball recipe. We have 1 pound of ground pork, 1 pound of ground beef, and I like the 80-20 blend. So you healthy people out there are saying, what is she putting the 20% fat in when she already has a pound of pork? Well, you know what? I think it tastes better, and it makes the meatballs more tender, and my grandmother's looking down at me. And if I change the recipe, she's gonna turn over in her grave. All right, so let's get the ingredients in there. We're gonna use 2 cups of breadcrumbs, the plain breadcrumbs. Don't buy those seasoned Italian breadcrumbs you see on the shelf. We use all fresh ingredients in the meatballs. We're gonna do 1.5 cups of Pecorino Romano cheese. We're gonna put in 4 eggs. And 1.5 cups of water. Now we're going to do 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped garlic. 1/2 cup of fresh parsley, 1/4 cup of pine nuts, and 1/2 cup of raisins. Okay. Now, you have to put a little elbow into this. You really have to get all those ingredients combined. You want every meatball to get all these flavors. We're almost there. I have a bowl of water here by my side because as you're rolling these meatballs, your hands get really sticky and it just makes it go a little bit quicker. Now, I get 9 to 10 meatballs out of every pound, so 2 pounds of meat, we're gonna get around 20 meatballs. So I like to really roll them well and compact that meatball as much as you can. Okay, let's fry. I'm gonna put enough oil in the pan to cover the bottom, but not too much so that the meatballs are swimming. I'm gonna put it on a medium to medium high. Now, I like to brown the meatballs on all sides, but I don't want it to form a crust because then it won't be able to absorb the sauce into the meatball. And if it looks like it's browning too quickly, just turn it down a little. Well, they're not quite there, ready to be turned. I'm going to turn that up a little bit more. Usually takes maybe 5 or 6 minutes to get them brown, but you don't have to cook them all the way through. I like to put mine in the sauce to finish them, and then that hour, I leave them in for an hour, and that hour they get to absorb all the flavors of that sauce. So we're going to put those in the sauce, and they're going to cook for another hour in this sauce. And like I said, they're gonna absorb all those flavors in that sauce. Great. All right, so now, while they're cooking for that hour, I have some already made for you. I have the sauce, I have the meatballs, and you cannot have Sunday sauce and meatballs without a bowl of pasta. Okay, let's get the pasta in the bowl. You know what? I love cheese. I'm going to put even a little bit more on. Let's check it. You know, you can taste everything. Who doesn't like pasta and meatballs? We eat, we laugh, we eat some more. Hi everybody, it's been a pleasure sharing this recipe with you today. If you'd like to see more, press like and subscribe. And while you're at it, check out the website and Facebook page. See you again next time.